So hello everyone,
Hello.
welcome to the new day and new vlog. And today we have with us Muntasir, our beloved. Today we thought that we'll discuss about our seminar kickoff meeting point. Although we have discussed previously how we applied for project and seminar, but we thought that it would be also interesting so that we'll try to cover the points which are related to the kickoff meeting of the seminar, because there we got to know what we had to do, what timelines we have, and how do we have to structure our seminar and tasks. So if we start, and that's why, just to add a point, we also have our some of the slides open so that we also take some reference to discuss the points and share as much information as possible. So
I would say that I would actually go through slide by slide. So
Yeah.
I would also share the important information. Just like he said that at first, after we applied, at first we got a mail that this is your kickoff meeting day. On that time, it was an online meeting, so we didn't have to go in there. I believe he was in India, I was in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So from there we do the online session.
Yeah.
And on the online session, the supervisor started briefing. On the first point, I would say is the organizing chair. There is four chair that can have seminar offered. One is SEDA that we already talked about.
Correct.
Another is programming expression, that is under Professor Ralph Finje.
Yeah.
Another under Professor Jörg Dor, that is digital farming. And another under Professor Annette Benuiza, I think, that is under soft tech. So you can apply in any of the categories.
Yeah.
But they are in terms of when you are applying or how you're like there is availability, you might get the seminar.
Correct. So once you got the seminar, this kickoff meeting was in Zoom or organized in Zoom. So we had to join that so that we also get to know some of the points. Now, if we talk about the goals of the seminar that were discussed before.
So goals of the seminar, I think at first we have given they are given some literature to us. The goals are like we have to understand, read the information, read the literature. We have to summarize it, we have to understand, we have to explain. We have to search more on it.
Yeah.
And then based on your topic, you have to like look for how many papers you have to search. And then summarize those paper in your own findings, and you have to present it as well.
Correct. So one point to add here is that we get a seminar topic, we get sometimes 4 or 5 references. Now they are just the sample references related to those topics, so you have to go through them so that you have a general or overview idea that what we have to do related to that topic.
Correct.
Yes.
So it depends on your professor as well. Sometimes they can think, okay, this is sufficient. You have 5 papers.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can happen that you have to
Yeah.
search more literature.
Yeah.
So it depends on topic or how depth you want to go.
Yeah.
And then we would come to the structure of the seminar. How we should, like, what should our seminar paper consist of? At first there is title that is given to us.
Yeah.
Then we have to abstract there where we should put the main things with some the summary of the paper. Then we have some keywords that is mentioned.
And we have to add some keywords in that sense as well.
Correct. And then basic things, for example, introduction, where we introduce our topic, method and result, how we are following, which method we are talking and which method we are following, and then how we came up on the result, what are the results that is done based on research paper.
Yeah, and also the conclusion and the future work.
Where you can, in the future, you can write open questions that we have done these things, but there are still open questions for this, and you have to still find it.
Correct.
So these are the common structure. Sometimes the table of this is also called table of contents. That these are the points you should mention, and it can vary. Sometimes you have related work, sometimes you have additional options. It can vary. It's not like fixed or rigid things. And then we have some points or figures. I think some key important points where we have to follow that when you're writing. For example, we are following it, or we are writing it overleaf. So when you write on our supervisor already gave us a template. So following that template, we are actually writing it, so we can pretty standard.
Yeah.
But also it just like common sense, you have to submit it as a PDF.
Yeah.
The picture should be in PNG, and the font and color should be like basic font and color, not like too much color and everything.
Yeah. So the thing is, if you can add either figures, you can add either tables, or you can add some of the algorithms. So you can choose your font, but the thing is, there are some predefined fonts and the colors that you have to opt for. If you go in overlay, then there is a fixed format that you might have to follow as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there are some like labeling in references should be automated. It's not like you have to manually put it.
Yeah.
And figure should not be generated from a screenshot, like you just take a screenshot and then put it in the latex, then the resolution would not be proper.
Yeah.
So don't just take in a screenshot, try to find the original photo, original references, put it in the overlay,
Yeah.
and follow that.
Yeah.
So,
and I think this is also a general point that the diagram should contain some legends or axis labels as well. So it should be well defined as well.
correct.
Yeah.
And for references, there are if you start searching literature, if you read through the literature, you
Yeah.
can see that there are different formats. We already talked in our psychology, we are following that difference, some
Yeah.
reference format there, but here it has like LNCS format,
Yeah.
where instead of writing author name or anything, you just write number, and in the end you would list, you have an index, like for 1 this is our reference paper,
Reference paper.
for 2 this is just simple
Yeah.
numbering, and in your main paper you just write the numbers instead of
Yeah.
that author or the literature that you are sharing. So that's the one.
And then some of the rules as well that one
basic
can
goes,
follow.
don't do plagiarism.
Yeah.
That's obvious for everyone. Don't
Yeah.
take word by word.
Yeah.
Try to summarize it. If you are following any word by like copying it, then use
Quotation marks.
and results table should be like with proper references. You are following it from some place, do proper references.
And even if you're using some figures as well, then also you have to mark the reference that these figures I took from this particular research paper.
Correct.
So and if we go then about the language or the grammar, like one of the point is follow impersonal language.
Follow impersonal language, like you should not use I, we did this, I did this.
Yeah.
Instead of the study did this kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of impersonal language, not saying directly. So follow this. Do not make any grammatical mistake with this AI technology, and everything is there. You should not make any grammatical mistakes. And spelling, language, that's like obvious things. So don't do those kind of mistake. Be logical. Like when you're putting things, your first
Yeah.
para should be similar to your
Yeah.
second para.
Yeah.
And like he said, be impersonal. Don't use I instead of just the
Yeah.
figure shows. And be precise to your point.
And be concise, because sometimes we receive this point that sometimes you can break lines, right? Instead of just writing 2-3 lines, you
Right.
just keep it concise so that it's much in a readable
Yeah.
format.
And follow your objective, that
Yeah.
what you're given.
Now talking about that, how much should be the page length? This point was also discussed. So it depends, I think, based on master students and bachelor
Bachelor's.
students. So if you are a master student, then it should be approximately 15 pages, and width should exclude figures and tables.
Correct.
And for bachelor students, it's 10 pages, which should exclude figures and tables. Also, it's quite good practice, I think, to consult with the supervisor as well. Like we have sometimes weekly meetings, although it depends. It's not compulsion, right?
Compulsion, yeah.
But it was advisable in kickoff meeting as well that you can schedule a weekly meeting with your supervisor.
Yeah, I think it depends on your supervisor, how much time he has. Sometimes I have heard from other group that they are like on demand basis. If sometimes the supervisor is giving them some task, and when they are finished, they ask for a meeting,
Yeah.
and then they discuss. For us, we had a fixed time meeting, and from that time
Yeah.
meeting, we actually schedule it.
Yeah, so we actually decided based on our availability, and then we came to a common time slot.
Common slot.
Now also, if you talk about the seminar, so it's for 2 people.
Two people. Usually, it's for 2 people, 2-person formats a team, and
Yeah.
then do it.
Yeah.
So you already mentioned Overleaf, which is an online tool to
Yeah.
make whatever you write it. The latex format, it converts it to PDF. So that is obvious. Apart from that, there are certain things that is expected from you. Like you should give it. For example, you should have participated in the kickoff meeting. You should be
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
presentation.
Correct.
There are some deadlines that
That
will
one has
come
to follow.
soon.
Yeah.
One has to follow. When writing seminar paper, you are following the guideline. You are referencing properly,
Yeah.
and you are also consulting with your supervisor.
So you follow the deadlines as well as the guidelines, and also you have to make a PPT as well. So I think the presentation is also one of the final
Also,
parts.
Final part. You have to show
Yeah.
your presentation. So
Yeah.
that's like obvious things,
Yeah.
but they have mentioned it.
Yeah.
Also, some things to avoid that would like you are not addressing your topic.
Yeah.
That's not addressing anything.
Yeah.
Or you are like, okay, in the first kickoff meeting I am there, and then I am gone.
Yeah.
In the when there is a presentation, then I am like, okay, where is my presentation? I have to in overnight. I
Yeah.
am doing something.
Yeah.
That will not help you.
Yeah. So it is advisable that you have to be there in the meeting. Although with the supervisor meeting, it's not compulsory, but to be or to submit the milestones, it's mandatory.
Compulsory, yeah.
Yeah.
And also you have to implement your feedback when they are giving it, like when you
Correct.
you're achieving, as well as we said, don't do plagiarism. That's always bad.
Yeah.
And you can't miss deadlines.
Yeah.
So that's common thing.
And now, since it's the kickoff meeting and we are talking about the seminar, the one of the main highlights of the meeting was about the deadlines. We talked that there are deadlines. The deadlines are not weekly, but the deadlines, suppose when you have a kickoff meeting, after 4 weeks we had to submit
first deadline,
the
and
table of content.
On our first test was the table of content,
Yeah.
like what should be contained in our presentation.
Yeah.
So paper. So for example, introduction, conclusion, method. So that
Yeah.
to prepare that we had 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
After 4 weeks of the kickoff meeting, we have to submit our table of content
Correct.
as a mail to the supervisor.
Correct. And in milestone 1, we'll discuss, like when we are submitting each of the milestones, you will see in those videos like what we are doing for milestone 1, what we are doing for milestone 2.
Correct.
So the milestone 1 is the annotated table of contents submission, which is after 4 weeks of kickoff meeting. Milestone 2 is the submission of the draft version of the paper, which is also after 4 weeks of the first milestone.
Correct.
Yeah, so overall 8 weeks after the kickoff meeting.
So you can say around rough figure 1 month. After 1 month there is a table of content, then 1 month around there is draft version.
Yeah, and then
after 5 weeks you have the final version of the paper.
5 weeks of the draft paper.
Yeah. Correct. So after 5 weeks you have, like, these times are not fixed. I think based on when our classes is scheduled, when the examination time is given, then they have defined 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It can happen that at the first time you get 3 weeks, at the second time you get 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It can change as well.
Yeah.
But in the kickoff meeting on route figure, you get 1 month for each of the tasks.
Correct.
And then after 5 weeks, as we said, after draft version of 5 weeks, we will get our final version. We have to submit it.
Yeah.
So,
but there is also, as we said, presentations.
Correct.
So, but the presentation date is not finalized yet.
Has not been decided, but
we have a rough idea that somewhere in February.
Between or end of like 19 February or something like that.
Yeah.
It can happen, but we are not sure.
Yeah.
It depends on your availability of your professor.
And the professor. Professor and the
supervisors. So it not depends on us. So we can't.
We have to come there and present our paper. So till now we have submitted our draft paper. So that is the thing, and you can see what we are doing for each of the milestones. You can see those informations in those videos, and I think you get some idea what is discussed in a kickoff meeting, what a kickoff meeting is, what are the points which are told in a kickoff meeting of the seminar. So you get some general idea, or maybe in detailed insights. That's why we thought that we'll keep the slides in parallel as well, so that we try to cover each of the points.
Correct.
So that's why we thought to discuss that in detail points, that this is a general overview of the kickoff meeting or the seminar that you will have to do in that particular semester. Now, any particular point you want to highlight?
Yeah, I want to add some additional points.
Yeah.
For example, we have talked about the paper, but for the presentation as well, they have mentioned some additional points.
Yeah.
For example, for master's student, you should at least talk for 20 minutes. For bachelor student, you should talk 15 minutes. And for 15 minutes, it can have like 10 to 15 slides, whatever. There is 2 participants, so you will get 10 minutes, I will get 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Use a shorter sentence in your presentation, highlight important words, and on those you have to give your presentation.
Correct.
So these are the important points, I think.
And
they also mentioned ideally you should have 15 slides for 20 minutes. So your slides number is like, you can have a rough idea, like 15 slides.
Yeah.
So then you can divide it accordingly.
Yeah, although we'll share our experience as well, how it went.
Correct.
And how is our final paper, or how was the presentation part as well. But this is the idea of the kickoff meeting and the seminar points. Thank you, Muntasir, for sharing the insights in details. And that's it for this video. Rest, like, comment, share, subscribe. It doesn't take much time. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao. Namaste. Chalo.